Hey guys, Joe here. So I just wanted to kind of go over feedback of this first one. So basically, there was a total of 5 companies that came out. Well, actually, there were 6. One was a douchebag; he left. Um, so there was like 5 people. Anyway, so I just texted them all this morning. I was like, "Hey, I wanted to thank you again for taking time out of your day. Hopefully, it was like basically worth your time." Um, so the feedback was really good. They all enjoyed it. Um, the one actually there was 3 guys that I really like helped with pretty well. And it was just nice reflecting. I don't know if I talked about this last time, just because I haven't been feeling great. Like literally, I had a sore throat, and then like after the meeting, I just didn't feel that great. Today, I felt better, but um, so it was just nice talking to other business owners, just because normally we're kind of stuck on an island by ourselves. And so anyway, the one guy said, or the 3 of them that I gelled with, all 3 of them loved the session that we did. They said I was going to be their fence supplier, which was cool. And then the one actually had posted, I guess, on his pages, like Facebook. I'm not quite sure. But apparently there was a few other landscapers that were interested, so they're going to be reaching out. Because what I see, and this is just from this one meeting. So this isn't actually, it's not just from the one meeting, because I've dealt with other landscapers as well. But it seems like the landscapers are much, much more open to working with each other than fence companies. The fence companies, at least in my area, they're very territorial. I legit had the one guy, um, and he's still pissed off. Like, it's been years at this point. But he was so pissed off that he would basically tell the other people that he was going to come find me and break my legs, right? Or it was something with my kneecaps. He was basically going to do a Tanya Harding to me. Is like what it came down to. And but these guys, like, they were interacting with each other. I could tell like the 2 of them knew each other. But it just seemed like they were more apt to work together. And at first, I didn't really put too much thought into this, but I do believe with the fence, these landscapers, there's a lot of work, like a ton of work, right? Whereas with the fencing, especially if you're doing vinyl or aluminum, it's kind of like a one or done thing. But with these landscapers, they're in there constantly, right? And I told the one guy, I'm like, it's if I actually I told a few of them, I'm like, if I were to do this all again, I would start as a landscaper. And the Contractor Sales Academy, not contractor, affiliated with the Contractor Growth Network. They kind of talked about this, where you kind of get your foot in the door for these small items, and then you can keep on like building, more relationships, and get, more things, do more things for them. And it makes perfect sense. Like everything that it points to, like it's just like, these homeowners, myself included. If my landscaper was doing a bang up job, like doing a really good job, and I'm like, hey, do you know someone that does fencing? It's like, well, I actually do fencing, right? And I'm like, oh, like this is perfect, because I really don't want to deal with anyone else, right? At least I knew you're going to come through. Um, and then if there's, and like, it's probably not, conscious that you're thinking about this, but if there's ever an issue, you're going to keep seeing them, right? So they got to fix what's going on, right? For if you got them for the lawn care or something like that. But anyway, that was about it. It was really good, and I realized that I know this business is new, but it was, and I said it to this guy this morning when we were texting back and forth, is that, because he's like, he said before and he said it again, but like, he's like, I want to build relationships. I want, with my, I'm very loyal to my suppliers and like that kind of thing, which is cool. Um, and I basically said, like, after thinking about it for a few minutes, I'm like, this is like, I couldn't quite put my finger on it, that, with the fence company, we do well. Is this green? I can't even tell. Okay, it was hard to say. With the fence company, yes, there was inherent issues, which I talked about numerous times. That, yes, we do $2 million in revenue, but it's also 7% closing rates, which means that we basically need a friggin' call center, to deal with this bullshit. Which, if we were closing at 25 and 30%, like this would be a totally different, mindset, maybe. But it would still turn into the same thing where it's just providing me money. But then after the money, I talked about this, like the Aslow's hierarchy of needs. I think it's the Aslow. Um, it's just I'm not fulfilled with money. And not that we do super spectacularly great because of the 7% closing rate, because I don't physically do like jobs within the company. Same with my wife, which she's getting more involved now. But like, we have a decent life. We're making well above, six figures. And life is pretty good. Like, I think a lot of people would be envious of like what we have. But at the end of the day, it's not fulfilling. Like, it's, for me, after doing this first training session, I absolutely loved it. Like, I knew I was going to enjoy it. Like, I think I wasn't nervous whatsoever, and it's because I constantly am doing videos on YouTube. Like, this is easy. But it was just interacting with other business owners and just talking to them, right? And it's building those relationships. And I told them, like, it's much more important for me. I said, the money's great with defense company, but the main reason that I'm trying to phase that out is like I'm not getting anything out of it. The money's fine, but like there's more to life than money, right? And so I really do, I enjoy it. I'm in the beginning stages, so it's like you don't see that immediate, payoff, or you know, what's changing, but like things are happening. Like, we've brought on a handful of companies, mostly smaller, but the one guy put in, like, in the last 2 weeks, put in like 5 orders, so that's really good. And it's just building those relationships, and it's like, with this, at least it's more of a compounding effect. So that's really about it. I do, like I said, if I were to do it all again, or if you're in a position that you are able to offer different lines of services, like if you're more of a handyman, or if you're a remodeler, stuff like that, you may not want these small jobs, but if you are really looking for these larger jobs, you might have to build those relationships first, right? So you might have to start going out for and maybe dedicate a specific crew if you're able to. If you're a little bit larger and you're able to handle this stuff, but maybe get a dedicated crew, or maybe even just a dedicated guy with his own vehicle and stuff that does these small jobs. I don't know what they are, but if there's something, like, if you look at your previous jobs to where like this certain type of job turned into another type of job, well, then my thought process would be like, how do I keep on, like, how do I get more of these certain types of jobs, these smaller installs, where like you can get your foot in the door for like, $1,000 or $2,000, project, which then will eventually lead into like a $50,000 project, right? And because it's 100% possible. So anyway, that's my thought of the day. I'm picking up my food now. If you're in South Jersey, there's this place called Gateway Diner. I think I've talked about before. Their food is dirt cheap. The owners are awesome, and the food is actually good. Their chicken parm's like awesome. So anyway, hope you guys have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.